welcome back to another episode of Westerospective, where we bring you Game of Thrones, the old seasons, and the new. I'm Geoff.
I'm Ron.
And today we are going to be talking about the season finale of episode 1. It's kind of crazy we already freaking blazed through 10 episodes of this shit.
I know. I was thinking about that the other day. It doesn't seem like we've done that much, really. We've already done a whole season.
Well, that's like the motto of the channel. So we just kind of like record our mediocre as fuck content and then just kind of hope for the best.
And I think we do an excellent job at that.
Oh man, the most excellent job. Yeah, today it's like I said, it's episode 10. Gonna be talking Fire and Blood as a title, but we are revisiting these old seasons, knowing what we do now. So we will be spoiling all 6 seasons of Game of Thrones. Please be up to date before you check us out on these. Yeah, let's go ahead and jump in. The episode starts off back at, is it Baelor? Is that the name of the...
Yes.
Okay.
Baylor.
It starts out... Goddamn, man. They hammer home the death. Because the first shot of the episode is the fucking blood dripping off of the sword, like zoomed up within 3 inches of the fucking blade.
It's like in macro.
It's brutal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good fucking looking blood, too.
Yeah,
like,
it was excellent effects. And it tore my heart out all over again.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
And then it's been quite a while since I watched this episode because my wife is getting into it, so we are ahead of the podcast. But didn't they also in the background, like kind of out of focus, see them raise Ned's head?
Yes, I believe Ilan Payne, the executioner himself, holds up the head. It's out of focus. The whole crowd's going nuts. Everyone up on up actually on the ground zero where it happened is just like stunned.
Yeah.
The only person who's not obviously is Joffrey. Everyone else is Sansa even straight up faints from seeing it. It's so. I did want to point out the director of this one was actually Alan Taylor, who would go on to direct Thor 2, Terminator Genesis. This was one of his episodes. He ends up directing. I believe there are season finales for the next couple of seasons. At first, before he left to go to his movie career, he did some of their major episodes early on. Fantastic job directing this one, I thought. Yeah.
No, this episode's really done really well. One of the quotes that I actually have written down for this scene is I always forget what the fuck is the dude's name from the Night's Watch.
The recruiter, his name is Yoren. And I have to IMDb him every fucking time because I can never remember his name.
I love that character, and this scene shows you a lot of what I love about that character because, he kept saying, like, come on, boy, and all this stuff, and eventually she was just like, I'm not a boy. Like, you're not a smart boy, you mean? And he's, like, cutting her hair.
Yeah.
And stuff. Yeah, I love that character.
Very, very cool. Man, it's like it's like they don't let up. Like you're still kind of traumatized from because if you're just watching this the first time, I bet a lot of people were like, surely they didn't actually kill off the main character. Boom. Yes, we fucking did, guys. Like,
because this is Game of Thrones, bitch.
I wish I was into the show to the point to where I could have been on like Twitter and seen the reactions to this, because I bet it was pretty interesting because like people honestly didn't know what the fuck they were in for.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there were lots of book readers trolling, as always.
As always.
Did you have anything else to add with the opening scene?
Nope.
From there, we go to another brand vision by the Three-Eyed Raven. This is actually where they establish, just how legit his visions are, because he actually is able to foresee that his dad's dead because he sees him in the crypts.
Did you remember that Rickon is having those dreams too? Because I did not remember that.
One of my next notes was forgot Rickon was also having the visions.
That is my note, word for word, that I wrote down.
I completely forgot, and I wonder...
Well, he did disappear from the show for like 5 years, so...
Yeah. I wonder if that was because obviously knowing what we do know now, that plot point never came to fruition at all.
Yeah.
And I wonder because we're past the books.
Yeah.
I wonder if that will ever come to fruition in the books, or if it already has in some way that we're not familiar with. Because in the show, completely disregard that later on.
Yeah. Yeah, because he clearly never had any dreams about Serpentine.
I was just about to say, one of my notes, Three-Eyed Raven is the worst recruiter ever. Because all fucking Bran ever does is get people killed.
Yeah.
And all Rickon ever does is not Serpentine.
All he ever does is get killed.
So it's like, man, you got on the Chosen Ones fucking scale of Harry Potter on one end and like fucking Bran and Rickon on the other. Bran and Rickon are the worst. Just do absolutely dog shit for anyone in the entire scheme of the show.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I just thought that was odd because it's interesting too. Like I was kind of stunned when they established that.
Since I know what's going on with the visions, it literally blew my brain, and I just sat there thinking, like, all dialogue fell away because I'm just sitting there thinking about when else did they ever reference that, and I couldn't think of anything.
Yeah,
I completely forgot it ever happened.
I kind of wish they had gone the route of Rickon, honestly.
Yeah.
Because, like, that poor kid probably is, not a bad actor. He got, like, 3 lines the entire 6 seasons.
Yeah.
Disappears for, like, 4 seasons, never says a word. And then they just bring him back to fucking murder his ass. So it's kind of fucked up. Poor Rickon.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is also them establishing more of the relationship between Osha and Brandon Hodor. That obviously becomes a much more important facet in the next couple of seasons when they're actually north of the wall together. I don't think I had anything else to add. What about you?
No, that was literally the only note that I had was just what the what?
And it segues into the next portion because this is when everyone starts getting the news that Ned is now dead. The ones that are really, really particularly heartbreaking are Catelyn and Robb.
Yes.
Because there's a really, really kind of poignant scene where when they first transition back to Catelyn, she's walking through the camp near all the soldiers, and she's keeping herself centered in front of all the men.
Yeah, and composed. And
as soon as she leaves the encampment going after to look for Robb, and she breaks into the tree line, she immediately starts hyperventilating.
Yeah.
And it's a really, really well acted and well shot scene just to kind of show like she still has to maintain in front of their soldiers.
Yeah. Another thing I like about the scene also was Robb clearly did the same thing because he's a little bit deeper into the woods, just hacking away with his sword.
I like
it left the impression to me that he did the same thing through camp and got out there the same way she did, and then just started losing it.
Yeah, she walks up, she tells him, you've ruined your sword, and he just, he brilliantly acted scene between those two because you really feel the death of Sean Bean's character.
Oh yeah,
throughout all the characters, and then she kind of has her moment in the woods where she's kind of broken down before this, and then when she goes and meets Robb, she kind of composes herself again for him.
Yes,
and she has this really badass line.
Yes,
and, we have
I wrote it down
back. And then we will kill them all.
Yes.
Very, very badass. Great character moment for her. Man, it's goddamn Walder Frey. You son of a bitch.
You're a bastard, Walder Frey.
Yeah. Oh my god. I'm not looking forward to the Red Wedding again.
No, I am not either. It's gonna be rough.
Fucking Game of Thrones. I love
that one
so
scene
bad.
is a podcast all on its own. When we get there, like that,
you could do a separate wedding podcast for Game of Thrones. They transition from there to your first look at King Joffrey in the throne room.
This scene has always stuck with me since the first time I ever saw it.
So when you transition in, all it opens up with is a bard who is singing the song that he has been caught singing.
I like the song too.
And then the song too, when you really get the grasp of when he keeps referencing like the lion, that can kind of go over your head if you're a first time viewer. They do a good job of cutting back to Cersei to show, like all the context of what his lyrics mean.
Yeah.
But like when you fully understand like every little detail in his song, you're just like, oh man.
I still think he might have gotten it better than the guy that was visited by the mountain. But,
True.
But
True.
still.
Yeah, goddamn, Jack Gleason, the Joffrey actor, so good.
Oh, I know.
Like one of the
Unfortunately.
One of the most despicable little sons of bitches that will ever grace your television screen. And he's so good. But, you just want to slap the shit out of him every time he talks. After the scene where he has sentenced the bard to have his tongue removed, and he just casually walks past him, and he walks up to Sansa, who is clearly just devastated and in shock, and he says, "Oh, you look quite nice," just in casual, like...
Yeah.
You're just like, Jesus, man.
And again, this episode does the same thing again. Out of focus in the background, you see the tongue get removed. They did a lot of that, and it was done... Normally, that's something that can either go really well or really bad, but every time they did that, they did it really well.
Yeah, because it kind of, reinforces the point to where Joffrey does not give a shit about any of his actions or repercussions, or like... They're not people to him, they're just things, and they do a good job establishing that. They go outside between the scene where they go to where Joffrey is showing Sansa the head of Ned, and
it could have all ended here, Jeff.
Right?
It could have all ended here.
Yeah.
If only Sansa had dragons.
Right. And you want to talk about badass lines? Like, I forgot like the Sansa line, because when Joffrey's talking all of the bullshit to her, it's like, oh, I'm gonna bring you as a gift, the head of your traitor's brother, whatever he says, and then she just no fuck says, or maybe he'll give me yours.
Yeah.
Damn. And
what about I remembered this scene, but I forgot about the look on her face when she's walking towards him. Very akin to Ramsay as she's walking away.
Yes. She looks, they zoom in to show her perspective. She's about to go knock him off the edge, and she gets stopped by the Hound. And, it would have been great if she had killed him, but the Hound does save her life, because I think he kind of knows.
Yeah.
Because, he reaches out and immediately grabs her. And then after Joffrey departs, he tells her basically, go along with it, save yourself some pain. I think he knows.
And then when she tries to give back the handkerchief or whatever, he's like, keep it, you're going to need it.
I mean, in the context of the story, this is like a 12-year-old girl we're talking about. Just, it's so fucked up, man.
Yeah.
And we haven't even gotten to the real bad Joffrey shit yet. Yeah, I thought that was a really cool scene. From there, we go back to the Stark camp, and they have what I didn't even realize was such a direct callback in the new season, the King in the North scene.
Yes.
Is completely a callback to this one, which I had forgotten about. I thought I appreciate the newer scene in season 6 even more so now, because it's kind of brilliant how it's the exact same scene, basically, just with Robb and Kat are now replaced with Jon and Sansa.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was a glorious setup that, can go over your head, because like we remember, like, this has been years since we've seen this. If you only watch it the one time, it's been 5 years, so you could easily forget how direct of a callback it was. But I thought it was a really brilliant scene.
Yeah, I've seen these episodes a few times now, because every time I had to watch it on box sets as they came out, as I didn't have HBO, so I would get caught up again as the new box set came out. But even while I remember the scene, when I was watching the one in season 6, I did not remember just how close it was. It was pretty cool.
Very, very cool. Let's see. We go from there to Catelyn leaving that to go talk to Jaime.
Yes.
Dude.
I love this scene.
Jaime you forget how much of a prick he was early on.
Yeah.
Like, all of the shit with Brienne, legitimately changes his character because god damn, he is a just disgusting
Douchebag.
person in the scene.
Yes.
Some of the lines the first thing he says to her is like, you look quite nice. Widowhood like suits you or something like that.
Yeah.
And you're just like, god damn.
Yeah, fuck you. Like, why do you even know? You're a prisoner here. Why is anyone even talking to you? Yeah.
I like too when she starts, beating him upside the head with the rock. He just straight up cops to the brand thing too.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten he did that, and it's pretty dark. Like they have the really, really great line too, where he's talking about, just go ahead and kill me, and then she tells him, if it's a just world, you'll be sent to like the deepest parts of the seven hells or whatever, and he's just like, well, if it's such a just world, like where was your tree god when Ned was beheaded, type of thing.
Yeah.
Really hits home, like because she just straight up stops as he's telling her all of this.
Yeah.
And yeah, Jamie, you get to the point in the later on seasons where you start to come around to kind of like him again. You go back to the beginning, you're like, why do I like this guy now? Like, you just feel gross.
Yeah, no, he much better without a hand.
Yeah.
It knocks him down a peg, I'd say.
Did you have anything else to add with that scene?
Not that scene, but the next scene is one of my all-time favorite Tyrion moments.
They do a quick cut to show you Cersei and Lancel, that they're a thing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I missed that.
But
in my
there's
notes.
really nothing to add. That's just there to show you that she is having another incestuous relationship that will come into play later on, obviously, in a big bad way.
What, you mean they revisit this plot point?
But from there, they go to the scene you're referring to with the Tywin and Tyrion scene.
Oh, man.
You want to talk about commanding the room? Tywin's reaction to... Because, okay, what's funny is it's a direct comparison to when Tyrion was captured.
Yes.
And all Tywin cares about is it's a disrespect to the family name.
Yeah.
But when Jaime's the one that's captured, he is a distraught father. He legitimately fucking cares.
Yeah.
Because he just straight up says, like, they have my son numerous times. It's a big deal this time. And yeah, when he sends them all away, he calls back in Tyrion.
Well, before that, though, one of my all-time favorite moments with Tyrion was when he just pushes the cup off the table.
Oh, yeah.
And it shatters. And he's like, there's your piece. He's like, that's what happened the moment that Ned's head came off. So, yeah.
Yeah, great scene.
Yeah, I love that. It's one of my all-time favorite things because the way, like, a lot of the characters, the way that they have to explain things, and then Tyrion just breaks a cup, and he's like, there you go. That's your piece. That's all you're going to get. I know, it's just the way, everything they do with Tyrion's brilliant, the way they set him up.
I totally agree. When Tywin sends everyone out but Tyrion, this is when he establishes that he's going to be the hand.
Dude, the look on Tyrion's face when he's A, told to stay, and then B, Tywin is now pouring him a cup of wine instead of taking the wine away from him. Like, you can do the look on Tyrion's face is like, oh, this is going to be rough.
One of my favorite lines, too, is when he starts telling Tyrion, he's like, now, if you encounter any treachery from Baelish or Varys or Pycelle, and he's just like, Tyrion's just like, head spikes walls. I got it.
Yeah.
Now, here is the thing that blew my mind a little bit, because this is some deep fucking cuts of setup. The last thing Tywin says to him as he's leaving the tent,
I remember
you will
this.
not take that whore to court. You understand? Knowing full and goddamn well he would do the opposite.
Yeah, I remember during the Shay reveal that the whole reason he said that was to make sure he does.
Yes. He tells him that knowing full and goddamn well that he would do the opposite, which, holy shit, that was subtle and brilliant setup. Yeah, that just kind of blew my mind when that happened.
God damn Tywin. Like, I love that character, but God, he's a son of a bitch.
Yeah. So from there we go to the first scene of the episode with Khaleesi and Jorah. We talked in previous episodes, kind of like pick and choosing like who was kind of like the MVP of the episode, like the most impressive performance. Emilia Clarke's is in this episode for me because like she goes through the fucking gamut of emotions in this one. This first scene they show, this is when she learns that like, you know, her kind of deal with the devil she made cost her the baby.
Yeah.
And, you know, your heart breaks for Emilia Clarke and that character just like, you know, she's only probably on screen for like a good 15, 20 minutes, but it's just like, you know, relentless how much it breaks your heart. And you want to talk about heartbreaking is when you see what's happened to Drogo.
Yeah. She
walks out with Jorah to go and find him after, you know, she has the whole conversation with the witch. And the witch, you know, she tells her all these things, you know, like, what did you save? You know, she's like, oh, I saved your life. You know, like, what does life mean? You know, you'll go and find out. Because, like, Momoa is so fucking good at playing that, like, zombified, dead, you know, soulless body.
He's basically like a lizard sunning himself. As I said, he likes the warmth because he's laying in the rocks.
That is
in
such a
view
devastating
of the sun.
fucking line, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, it just makes me so sad. I love that character so much.
I know.
It's so fucking heartbreaking. The whole episode is just heartbreaking for the Khaleesi and Khal Drogo stuff because, man, they did a great job establishing in limited screen time and limited episodes their relationship and how important it is for the grand scheme of the show, I think.
Game of Thrones, one of the things I really enjoy about this show that I don't think we speak enough about is what you just said about all the characters. Because think about how many threads are happening all at once in every episode. And while they're an hour long and 10 episodes per season, how much screen time does each character really get? So they have to convey everything that they need to convey, which is a lot in an extremely short amount of time. And they have to do it through not just acting ability, but writing ability.
Yeah, it's hand in hand. The writers have to crush it. The actors have to crush it. And they're like, one of the hardest things, too, is like when they're writing these episodes, you know, they don't chronologically go about writing them. They go about writing them probably, and I think I've read this before, most television shows that do this kind of format, they'll write out the entirety of like the character's arc for the episode. Then after the fact, they go in and break it up and kind of pinpoint which scene they want where. So it's a masterclass in editing too, about where they want to have which scene go where in both in pre-planning and post-planning.
Yeah. No, it's craziness.
Great
the way that what they have to do for an episode, and
they were already crushing it season 1 too.
Yeah, they're very, very good at this type of format. So, yeah, no, it's that's the thing that's always blown me away about this show, I think. So, and it makes it interesting because they don't have time to bullshit.
I would actually be curious to see. I bet someone's done it out there, but like from all 6 seasons so far, screen time for each character. Like, I'd like to know exactly just how much screen time we've seen of each character.
It's probably not nearly as high as you think.
No, it's probably kind of crazy how little it is. From there, we transition to the scene between Jon and Sam. This is Jon figuring out about Ned. He immediately, you know, gets the fuck out of the Night's Watch. It's actually a pretty cool scene where Sam straight up gets in the way of his horse.
Yeah.
Because it shows you, you know, like, you know, he knows that more than likely if Jon leaves, you know, he's breaking his vows. He's going to be goddamn murdered. And they have the cool line where, you know, Sam's like, you know, do you know what happens to deserters? And he turns around and he says, better than you.
Yes.
And he just gets right up on the horse. It just shows you, like, how, you know, Jon knows full well
makes
what he's
Makes you wonder how much that beheading in episode 1 was set up for this scene.
Yes, I agree.
Because you already saw what happens, and then a character that you've had enough time to kind of fall in love with is now kind of in that predicament. Is this the moment with Sam and the tree branch when they go riding out after him?
That's when they cut back. This portion of it is just Jon riding out and knocking Sam over.
Okay, so, yeah, we go to Tyrion and Shay next then.
Yes. From there we go to the Tyrion and Shay scene. Did you have any notes for this scene?
No, I didn't.
This is when Tyrion has just, been told he will be the Hand. he's kind of making preparations for leaving. And what does he go and immediately do? Invite Shay to King's Landing.
It's a trap, Tyrion.
Tyrion is such a brilliant fucking character, but when it comes to Tywin and Shay, he just he gets manipulated so bad, and it's so devastating rewatching it that you just feel for him so much.
Knowing it's coming makes those scenes were always like kind of cool. If nothing else, they were funny. But knowing what's coming, it's just like, Tyrion, no. Don't do it.
It's so heartbreaking, and it puts a complete new spin on so much of the show
on what seems so innocent. Yeah,
it's almost like some of their scenes, especially like the one with them in the tent with her, Bronn, and Tyrion. Until they do the story reveal with the Tyrion story, a lot of that is comedic relief for Game of Thrones.
Yes.
And then, with the spin of knowing what happens, I don't even know what to do about the show.
It's so stressful, Geoff.
Why do we do this to ourselves? We go from there back to the scene you were talking about. Where...
Okay, Game of Thrones, it's so odd to me that a show that dabbles very little in comedy, and if they do, it's smart comedy. It's you got to know what they're saying and what the fuck they're talking about to get it half the time. That can just straight up do like a slapstick moment or a gag that is as old as movies themselves, like clotheslining yourself on a tree branch while on horseback, or a fart joke that we got in season 6, like. The fact that they can pull that shit off and it be so funny, that is also astounding to me. They don't do it often, and I think that's one of the things that makes it so great when they do. Because I laugh my ass off every time I see Sam clothesline himself, partially because he clotheslined himself, and then the sound he makes when he does it, that high-pitched... I don't know. I'm a sick individual, I think.
What's cool too is so it's Sam, Grin, and Piper or Piper. I don't know how they actually pronounce his name in the show. I don't think they ever actually say his goddamn name. But when they go after Jon, and that's the only reason Jon turns around too, is because Sam fucking clotheslines himself.
You can almost just hear in his head that "God damn it, Sam" as he turns around.
When he goes back,
the only thing I could think about was that moment on the wall when he said he doesn't see well. He's the only one that hit the tree.
I love Sam. Yeah, he's it's a pretty unfortunate place that he finds himself on the wall, but yeah, it does lead to comedic glory at times. When they catch him. And then they repeat the Night's Watch sworn oath thing to him. The other thing that adds context when there was none before is every time they talk about, when you die, your watch is over. Like, there's a whole lot of times where they established like that idea of Jon coming back after his watch has ended. That is just casual conversation, them talking about the oath, but it's so important later on, which is just maybe not as intentional as it is later on in later seasons, but it's very cool looking back on it.
Yeah, it's brilliant is what it is.
From there we go back to Khaleesi and Drogo. This is where she's kind of starting to understand that there's no coming back for him. She's I believe this is the scene where she kind of lays with them in their bed like one last time. She starts talking to him, and like the whole thing with him is just so devastating because she talks to him about like if there's anything in there left of you, like kind of come back to me.
Yeah.
And it's Emilia Clarke, she has nothing to play off of the whole episode, really, when it comes to the Drogo, but she pours so much, of her heart into it that it really comes across. And fucking Momoa crushing it too, doing absolutely nothing.
I know.
He's so good. Like when they have a scene where when she starts talking about what I was just quoting, he's just staring off into nothing, and he's even doing this little thing where he's like kind of crossing one of his eyes.
Yeah.
And it's just like Momoa is so impressive when he's even really not doing anything.
You know how hard it is to not react to anything, even by blinking or anything, because you don't realize how many of your reactions are natural. So, like, when she kisses him, for instance, for his eyes to not move, his lips to not move, even the slightest, it's just, I feel like the reason his eye is that way is someone hit him over the head, and then they said action. Like,
yeah.
That's really the impression you get.
Yeah, this is when Khaleesi... Now, I forget if it's at this point that she suffocates him or when they come back, but we can go ahead and talk about it. Just because I forget the order that it came in, but
it's here.
It's here.
Yeah, it's here because the pyre is the next time we see him.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, man, like her character arc to go from just kind of this hollow slave to, you know, all of the development that happens from, you know, like she loses her baby trying to save her husband, and then, you know, in the process saves him but doesn't really save him, and just like how hardcore she is the foundation of she lost her whole family.
Yes.
Yeah. Crazy development.
And you want to talk about how good she is? Let's talk about how good Momoa is in like his death throes as he's being suffocated, because that could very easily have gone over the top and become exquisite, or just been nothing where he's just laying there. And that was that much more heartbreaking because of the way his body is kind of flailing about.
It's haunting.
It's haunting. That's a very good way to describe it. It's haunting.
Yeah. You're talking about it like we've talked about numerous times this season. I want to know how much screen time Jason Momoa has in this season of Game of Thrones.
Not a lot by any means.
And he's referred to as most people as called Drogo. Like, yes. Good on him, man. Good on him. Now this is the next scene. This is one of the oddest scenes of the episode. This is a day in the life of Pycelle.
Yes.
Where it is just this disturbing fucking scene where he's with Roz, who has made it to King's Landing, that we've established in the previous episode because she was with Littlefinger. And man, I don't even know. I wonder how much of this was one take.
Yeah.
Because he talks for like 5 minutes straight. It's just crazy to me. The actor, I wanted to look up his name too. It's Julian Glover. He's fucking good too in this show.
Yes,
and
he is.
does not get enough credit. Because his character is so specifically weird, but he's so fantastic at it too. Did you have any notes to go along with him?
Just that he's a phony. He's a big fat phony.
There's a really like the more physical comedy too. After she leaves, he does this like stretching routine.
Yeah, and he's zipping around pretty good. And
yeah, I don't know. He's such an odd fucking character.
And then right as he opens the door to go out, he just kind of like takes it, like exhales really deeply and kind of hunches over and starts moving real slow about the door.
Yeah.
Like he's just as bad as Varys and Littlefinger at the show that he puts on. You know? I guess it's just to show you that he's like all the rest.
Yeah. He's not quite as good as they are, but he's pretty damn close. Now, the next scene is one of my all-time favorites from the show, probably, and this is the Varys and Littlefinger throne conversation.
Is this the Gash conversation?
Yes, this is the Gash conversation. I could have quoted the entire 3 minutes of conversation, but the one that I did write down is when Varys is talking to him when they're talking about envisioning themselves on the throne, and then Varys talks to Littlefinger. He says, "A man with great ambition and no morals, I wouldn't bet against you."
Yeah,
love that line. There's some really, really funny ones, like you mentioned the Gash one, where he's just like, "So how often do you find yourself thinking of my Gash?" It's good stuff. Did you have any quotes from that scene that you wanted to talk about?
No, because like you said, I would just end up writing down the entire dialogue.
The whole fucking conversation.
That's one thing that I miss. Like, I remember always loving those scenes, but going back and revisiting them, I want to see them in the same room again. You know, Littlefinger and Varys. I miss their dialogues together.
I agree. Let's see. The next scene is back to Yoren and Arya. He's prepping her to leave with them with the rest of the Night's Watch recruits. Arya gets attacked by one of the other recruits, and she kind of fends him off with Gendry.
Yes.
Pre-boat Gendry.
Yes, I love that line he has. I didn't write it down, but when he strikes steel, whatever it sings, he's like, when I strike you, are you going to sing for me? As he's like walking to his badass walk towards the guy.
So metal.
I miss Gendry. I wish he'd get off that damn boat.
At this point, I don't even know if like
he has a place anymore.
I don't know if he has to be a thing, because they made so much emphasis on him early on.
Yeah.
Or if it's one of those things like Rickon, where it's a plot point that will never get touched on again.
They just went a different direction.
Yeah, I'm really curious to know what the fuck is up with Gendry in that goddamn boat.
I just imagine him with the Life of Pi tiger.
He just winds up on the Lost Island. Anything else to add with the Gendry scene?
The Life of Gendry.
The Life of Gendry.
His bull helm.
Yeah. From there we go to a really cool scene between Commander Mormont and Jon.
I fucking love this scene.
Yeah, this is another one we could have pretty much, just word for word put down all the quotes. Did you write down any quotes?
Honor made you leave. Honor brought you back. My friends brought me back. I never said it was your honor.
Fucking love the Mormonts. They're all the shit.
The look he gives him when he says, I never said it was your honor. I love that.
Fantastic.
And the look on Jon's face when he's like, he says, he mentions that your moonlight ride, like, were you up too late on your moonlight ride or whatever it is he says to imply that he knows he left. I
like too where he's just like, oh, don't worry, we're not going to execute you. If we executed everyone who left for a few hours, only ghosts would protect the wall or whatever.
Yes, I love Commander Mormont.
Love him.
Painful scenes await him, Geoff.
Don't remind me. Are you telling me someone we like dies in Game of Thrones? You shut your goddamn mouth.
I know it's unheard of, but it does happen from time to time.
This is when he establishes the plan that they're going north of the wall and you're coming with me tomorrow type of thing.
Yep.
Anything else to add with the Mormont scene other than Mormont 2016?
Nope. Let's talk some more Khaleesi.
Yeah, this is going to be the end cap to season 1 of Westerospective. It's kind of crazy. So I don't even know where to begin with this whole Khaleesi thing, honestly.
Well, this is really... we talked about how we saw glimmers of the Khaleesi we know now throughout the season, but this is really the moment that character is born. Right here.
So, one of my favorite parts is where she tells Jorah to string up the witch at the pyre.
Yes.
And then the witch says, like, in response to something she says, like, you won't hear my screams. He's like, oh, I will. But I don't ask for your screams, only your life. I'm paraphrasing it, but you remember the quote.
Yes.
Because, like, you're just like, fuck yes.
Yeah.
We're getting Khaleesi.
This is the beginning of Metal Khaleesi.
She, Jorah knows what she's planning on doing. Jorah obviously doesn't know what she can do or what's going to happen. So Jorah is also really,
let's just say he has good reason to expect she will not survive.
Yeah, Ian Glenn's also really, really good too, because he straight up thinks that this is the last time he's going to see her, but he's so honor bound to her that he does everything she tells him to do.
Yep.
They have a cool moment too between them where he starts telling her, he's just like, I don't know if I can let you do this, and then she has a line where it kind of almost distinguishes, like, she kind of knows somehow what's going to happen, because she tells him, like, oh, you think that, so that's what's going to happen. You remember what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I should have written down the exact quote, but
I don't remember the exact quote.
She alludes to the fact that's like, what you think's going to happen is not what's going to happen type of thing.
Yeah.
And, she lights up the pyre. Of course, the witch starts screaming, as Khaleesi's walking into the pyre. And more great Jorah acting as because they keep cutting back and forth between him when she's kind of prepping to go up and do what she's doing, and they cut away as she gets up onto the pyre. They have a really cool shot. The last thing you see is Drogo, which I liked. It's a cool shot. And when they come back, I guess it's really like, obviously the first what the fuck moment is really the Sean Bean death, but like the first like real what the fuck moment is when you cut back to her unburned, even her fucking hair is like spotless.
Yeah.
And you get the first look at the dragons, which my first note was, holy shit, the dragon CGI is gotten it's not terrible, but compared to what it is now,
any other TV show, that is goddamn good graphics. But what we get later is movie quality, silver screen movie quality.
Baby Charizard.
Yeah,
Baby Charizard.
Yeah, the Seekers.
I guess it'd be Charmander. We saw Charmander. Oh, one of my favorite bits of acting, though, in the entire first season is Jorah's goddamn expression.
Yes.
When he sees her, he has the most, like, what the fuck look that you could...
What have I gotten myself into?
Because he, like, fucking staggers a little bit, too.
Yeah.
And you buy it, like...
Ian Glenn is so good, dude.
He's so good.
You need to see Strike Back.
I do. I've heard nothing but good things. I need to watch
the episodes that he's in. He's not in many, but the episodes he's in, he's fucking fantastic.
So yeah, I don't think I haven't. Did you any other notes that you wanted to touch up on?
No. The only note that I have written down for that scene was my original reaction the first time I ever watched it, which was dragons in all caps and like 3 exclamation points.
Dragons, bitches.
Pretty much. Yeah. Pretty strong first season for any show. Really.
I talked in a previous episode, the first time I watched this finale, I was actually a little bit disappointed because I wasn't aware originally that they did the whole thing where the big episodes were typically not the finale.
That's right. How was it revisiting it for you?
I actually really, really liked it.
Because this is the first time you've revisited it, right?
Okay, I watched it originally by myself, and I think I've watched it all the way through for the most part. I maybe missed a few episodes here and there when I was revisiting it a couple of years back. So okay. I've only seen these... The original times I watched it has been so many years, that's kind of gone for the most part. But so I've revisited this twice. This is like the third time actually really knowing like what I'm watching because we've gotten so into it for the show. And I thought it was a really, really brilliant finale, just how much is set up for the next season. It was done really, really brilliantly. And yeah, they did have it wasn't as big of a what the fuck with the Sean Bean thing, but like her surviving that and with the dragons was a really, really cool cliffhanger.
Yeah, no, it was really cool the way that it was done. I'm in a couple of episodes into season 2 now, and it's good stuff, man.
This is the season I'm most interested in revisiting, season 2, because this is one that I feel like you really need knowledge.
It hits the ground running.
I feel like season 2 is the one where you most need the background when they start throwing the Baratheons and stuff at you, like They introduce a lot more characters.
I'll say this is basically spoilers for our next episode, but I did not, and like I said, I've seen this a few times, I did not remember seeing goddamn Stannis in the first episode.
Oh, yeah, see, I did, and that was one of those things where I started getting lost, because, like, if it's been a portion of time between seeing seasons 1 and 2, and you're not a book reader, you could very well forget who the fuck Stannis even is.
Yeah.
Because they talk about him a few times, but it's something that could be very easily forgotten.
They talked about him a hell of a lot more than I remembered them talking about him.
Yeah. It's just you don't have it when you have a face to the name, it helps you figure it out better. But yeah, that's a wrap for season 1 of Westerospective. We should be back next week for season 2, episode 1. So be sure to check back next week for that one. If you'd like to check us out more, please like and subscribe. That gets you all of our content. We not only do Game of Thrones related stuff, we also do Let's Plays and a news podcast every week. We also have social media links in the description below for Facebook and Twitter. And most importantly, if you know anyone else that might also like our content, we would greatly appreciate the share. For this night and all the nights to come, I'm Geoff.
And I'm Ron, and now this watch is ended.